Hello, Dave.
Wait. Pete, is that you?
Pete, I remember when I was here. This is the old me, the fighter, or maybe the spirit of the fighter. You used to call me Raikkonen.
What's going on? Are you all right?
I'm fine. This is just where I am now.
Can you help me? I don't know what's going on. I thought going back to battling was going to be the right idea, but it's all fallen apart. I don't understand how anything works anymore. There's another me, the one from way back when we disagreed. I tried to get people here to help me, and I think they did something weird. The authorities are after me, and I don't really get why. Was there a conspiracy all along? Do you know? Everything's going back to then.
There was never a conspiracy. We just thought we needed one to give our failures meaning, but that's okay.
But he's real. The other me, he was right there. And I thought I'd gotten rid of him because I told him I don't need him, and I won the next 2 games, but he's still there, and it just...
Calm, Dave, calm. This is a place free from such things. You played with Destiny a little too much, and yes, he's real. You manifested him into existence. It looks like you've unshackled yourself from him for now, but he's still out there. You have to be careful. That detective Stryker, he'll be after you for a time. Remember, you're in control. You don't need an alter ego or a council or anything. Put them aside and take responsibility. You're a former champion. You can do this.
Yeah. I'll try. I'm sorry you ended up here, Pete. All those things we disagreed about.
I've transcended the need to fight. This is a peaceful existence. Everything is fine. Just keep in mind the most important thing. It's just a game.
Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and welcome to week 8 of the PPL Bolt Division. Yes indeed. Now, last time we actually got our first ever second win in a row, which is great, putting us at 3-5 for the season, -4 differential. Now, that makes things pretty cut and dried when it comes to this final week of the pre-season, well, not pre-season, but the playoff qualifying season part of it. It basically makes it very simple. If we win this game, we make it to playoffs. If we lose this game, we do not. Differential doesn't matter at this point. We just have to win. Not going to be an easy one, because in our final week of the regular season, we take on Lux and the Groningen Gallades. His link's down in the description below. He sort of uploads sporadically, but he's a good guy, good friend. Looking forward to playing him. Not looking forward to playing his team though. Excuse me, let me just resituate. Lux arguably has the bulkiest team in the league. And the things he can pick from: Tornadus Therian, Rotom Wash, Ting Lu, Mienshao, Ogerpon Cornerstone, Klefki, Screamtail, Ceruledge, Ursaring, the Fanpy, and Muck. Very bulky team. He's got a lot of fast things on there as well. I mean, all he really needs for pace is Tornadus, Mienshao, and Ogerpon. Everything else, there's just a stupid amount of bulk going on there. Not going to be an easy game, but we are going to put our best foot forward and try and win this. So, what am I bringing to counteract him? First up, we have, let me just bring up my team that I decided to bring. Yes, first up we have Samurott. Hisuian Samurott is back, it's scarfed again. Max attack and speed to speed tie with the Ceruledge. We got Ceaseless Edge, Knockoff, Flip Turn and Aqua Cutter. Water offense into Lux's team is very good. His only resistance is the Rotom Wash. Hazards into his team are really good as well. Lux has a lot of mons that used to get hazard removal. Now none of his team has hazard removal whatsoever. Any hazards that I get up are guaranteed there to stay. And that's really going to help wear down his ridiculous bulk. As you can see, there are the moves I've got on my Scarf's Samurott. Probably not going to be a lead off. I would normally lead with one of my hazard setting Scarfers. I'll explain why I'm probably not going to do that later on. But that is going to be my Samurott set. Next up, we do have our Cyclozar returning. Cornwall, the Cyclozar, heavy duty boots on there with Regenerator. We have Rapid Spin, U-Turn, Knockoff and Iron Head. Max speed, so that it speed ties with that Tornadus. 176 in Spadef and the rest 80 into attack. It's going to allow me to take as many hits as possible from that Rotom Wash, among other things. Honestly, Lux does not have a massive amount of special offense on his team, and Cyclozar can't be touched by the Rotom Wash. He does have a fair amount of hazard stack on his own side. I do have a very good spin option here in Cyclozar. So Cyclozar's main jobs are going to be A, stop hazards go up on my side, B, stop that Rotom from doing things, and if the Rotom burns it, then this just becomes a knockoff machine. Get rid of any boots on his side so that I can do as much damage as possible with my own hazards. Iron Head as the main attacking move on there. That's going to help against any sort of Scream Tails that come. It's also going to nice and neutrally hit the Klefki, which I'm expecting, better than having to lock in on Overheat, for example. So that's Cyclozar. Third up is going to be Seabad, the Hisuian Corfish, fully Fizz Def set here with the Eviolite and Intimidate. We have Toxic, Barb Barrage, Haze, and Liquidation. Dark into his team is decent, but honestly, when paired with Poison, Water does better. You know, it's going to be nice and neutrally hitting the likes of the Ogerpon. It's also going to super effectively hit the Ceruledge. This thing will tank hits from a Swords Dance Ceruledge all day, every day. If it gets to +6 and I get an Intimidate off, I'm still living any one hit, which is great. And I also wanted Liquidation on there over Crunch in case of that Fanpy. Now, I'm taking Fanpy seriously on his side. Lux has already qualified for playoffs, so I'm expecting him to bring some outside of the box things, and honestly, he's brought Fanpy to one game and it's got 3 kills and hasn't died yet. I'm kind of half expecting him to bring it, and he'll either be sort of, I would imagine, Terra Ground or Terra Fairy, so, you know, Hisuian Corfish can deal with that fairly easily. Toxic over Toxic Spikes because of the likes of the Tornadus and the Rotom and stuff that's immune to it. Also, he might bring the Muck because it walls out my Annihilate pretty effectively. So that's Quillfish. Fourth up, we have Scarf Cleavor. It's back. Same set basically as Samurott. Max speed, max attack. Stone Axe, U-Turn, Aerolace, and X-Scissor. This thing hits his team incredibly hard. It's one of the few things that can realistically damage the Ting Lu. And it's basically just your common or garden Scarf Cleavor. There's not really a whole huge amount to say about it. Fifth member of the team is going to be my Thunderous Therian. We have AV Thunderous Therian here today. Wild Bolt Storm, Focus Blast, U-Turn and Brick Break. We have max special attack, 176 in speed with the Timid Nature, 80 into Spadef. This is going to be outspeeding something. I forget exactly what, but Speedy V's are there for a reason. We have Focus Blast and Brick Break. You remember before where I brought Tornadus and it accidentally had 2 fighting type moves? I mean to have the 2 fighting type moves here. Focus Blast is going to be its main form of damage outside of Wild Bolt Storm. We have U-Turn over the Volt Switch just so I can guarantee getting out of there against either of his ground types that he might be packing. Brick Break is good for the screens. He could well bring dual screens Klefki, and Thunderous is going to be my best answer to taking that on. I didn't want to put Brick Break on my Cleavor because it would be locked in and give him a free switch into something. So that is Thundurus. And the final member of the team returning is going to be Jirachi. Jirachi is here with the Rocky Helmet. We have 112 in HP, max defense, 144 speed, jolly nature. This is outpacing, I believe, a max invested, Rotom Wash. We have Thunderwave, U-Turn, Wish, and Iron Head. I am bringing T-Wave, Iron Head. Whether I'll be able to use those kind of strats is dubious, but there's a few things on there, like the Tornadus and the Mienshao that I'd quite like to get Thunderwaved. And Jirachi will be able to Rocky Helmet damage onto the Mienshao. It'll also take an Ivy Cudgel into knockoff from the Ogerpon Cornerstone, which is quite nice for that defensive investment. So looking at Lux's team, the things I'm expecting, he's brought Ogerpon and Tinglu every week. I'm fully expecting the Ogerpon to be here. Tinglu doesn't actually have an amazing matchup versus my team, but I'm still expecting it, because outside of like Adamant, Choice Banded, Close Combat from Annihilate, I don't have anything that can even come close to one-shotting it. And I think he'll know that. I'm kind of expecting, he's brought Weakness Policy Tinglu before, I'm half expecting it again. Rotom, I'm fully expecting to come Scarfed. He's seen that my two best Scarfers in Cleavor and Samurott are things I bring often, and Rotom outspeeds both of them by 1 point and hits them super effectively with its Dual Stab, so I'm expecting Scarf Rotom, and I'm almost expecting the Scarf Rotom lead on his side. So those three, Mienshao, I'm sort of expecting. Honestly, if I was going into this, I'd be expecting his first 6 Pokemon: Tornadus, Rotom Wash, Tinglu, Mienshao, Ogerpon, and Klefki. Screamtail, I think Klefki does a better job than. Ceruledge is a possibility, but I have too many things to shut it down. Ursaring, I just don't think he'll want to bother risking it. Marky is a possibility to come in place of maybe like the Tinglu to wall out my my Annihilate. And the Phanpy is actually, I think, the next most likely option. Like I say, I'm taking Phanpy seriously. It's worth taking it seriously because it can hit hard and it has rare priority, which is quite nice for him. And it's decently bulky when it's got a Violite and a decent Terra typing. So that's kind of what I'm expecting going into this battle. So let's go over to the starting battle screen and see what Lux has brought to counteract me. So, as you can see, Lux has brought the Phanpy, Tornadus, Ogerpon, Mienshao, Screamtail, and Rotom. So a few things I wasn't quite expecting on there. The Screamtail was not entirely anticipated. Everything else I feel okay going up against. I am going to lead with Jirachi. That was what's always going to lead with. If he leads with the Rotom, I can just go into my Cyclizar, which it can't touch. If not, well, I'm pretty okay with Jirachi going up against anything else that he could possibly lead with. If he goes with the Ogerpon, I just take a hit and U-turn out into like Cleavor. So that's my lead. Let's get into the battle and see how things played out. So here we go. The battle is going to start with his beautiful Phanpy picture going on there. As you can see, Lux is going to lead with Merlin. That is the Rotom. So he was potentially anticipating one of my Scarfs to lead. I'm going to go Rachi, as you can see. I don't really want to take a special hit off this guy. I want to save Rachi for other things. So my play every single time is just to go into Cyclizar and see what he wants to do. So I'm going to get out of there with Jirachi and just go straight into my Cyclizar. There's nothing realistically he can do to me offensively with this guy. What he can do is go for Trick, which again, not anticipating, and it turns out he's going to trick me Choice Specs, which is not great for Cyclizar. I kind of need it to have the freedom of movement, but it's not going to get that anytime soon. And he now has heavy duty boots on his Rotom, which is irrelevant for the Samurott, but it's going to be annoying if I do get up my rocks. Bit unfortunate. I can either choose to U-turn on out of there and get a better matchup, or go for knockoff. I choose to go for the former, and I'm going to U-turn out and try and get something in that's going to deal with this Rotom a lot better. Now my answer every time is going to be my Thundurus. It's very likely that he's just going to try and Volt Switch out, and as you'll see, it's exactly what he does. No reason for him not to do this. Even with Volt Absorb, I'm not getting anything back from it, other than the benefit of a free switch. And now I have initiative back in my favour after a bit of a rough lead off on my side. I'm going to opt to go for the U-turn here. If he switches out, I get initiative. If he stays in, like he does, I can literally just go back into my Cyclozar because he's bound to go for Hydro Pump here. He's not going to risk going for another Volt Switch. So yeah, back in comes my Cyclozar to take any hit from this guy. He is going to go for Hydro Pump, and that's going to do, as you can see, not a massive amount of damage to me. It's looking like a 4-hit KO, which is fine by me. And now I can start either U-turning once again, or just going for knockoffs on whatever he wants to bring in. So I am going to go for knockoff. He does stay in. I'm going to get rid of his boots, which is fine. This is the point where he is going to go for Volt Switch. It's going to do, again, very nominal damage, and he's going to be able to go into something to better take on my Cyclozar. I'm locked into to knockoff, so he's basically got a free switch if he plays this right. What he's going to do here is go into Mash. That is going to be the Ogerpon. Obviously, I can't knock off his mask, so that's a very good switch for him. I do have two things that can come in fairly freely here. One is the Jirachi, and one is the Quillfish. Now, he could very well be going for knockoff, which would be unfortunate for either of them to lose their items. On balance, Jirachi is probably my best switch in case he just goes straight up for Cudgel. So that is probably what I'm going to do here. In the end, however, I decided I want to try and maintain that Rocky Helmet longer. So I'm going to go into Quillfish, who will be able to get an Intimidate, just to sweeten the pot for me a little bit more against whatever he's going to go for. He does go for the knockoff. As you'll see, that does absolutely nothing. He does get rid of my Violite, but Quillfish is still bulky and it still has Intimidate, so it's still got good utility here. Honestly, Toxic is likely to be my play. He doesn't have anything that's immune to it, so this is free Toxic on whatever he wants to bring in to take me on. Here comes the switch, and it is going to be, drumroll please, Foo, that's the Phanpy. In comes the Phanpy, and once again, I am taking this thing seriously as a threat. I'm going to go for Toxic here, just to make sure that this thing is on a timer. Now, like I say, I'm not messing around with Phanpy. It can be a threat if played correctly, and honestly, without my Violite and with him not being intimidated, an Earthquake will probably genuinely take out my Quillfish, and I still need this guy around to intimidate some stuff. So I need to think of something to go into here, and realistically, I want to stop him from setting up rocks on my side. So Cyclozar is going to be the best option for me to go into, and as you'll see, that's exactly what I am going to do. In before rocks to make sure I can get a spin-off. If Cyclozar has to go down, so be it. I have other things to knock off and get initiative. And as you'll see, Stealth Rocks are going to be the play on Lux's side, but I have them on in here to be able to deal with that. Now normally I'd want to knock off this thing's Violite, but honestly, because it's Toxic, I'm not so worried about it being bulky, so I'm going to go for the Rapid Spin. He is going to Terrasilize into Ground Terror Phanpy, so this Earthquake is genuinely going to hurt, but most importantly for me is to make sure he does not have hazards up on my side. I get the spin-off and get the speed boost, which is irrelevant. He is now, of course, going to go for that Terror Ground Earthquake. This is going to hurt. As you'll see here, it doesn't kill, but it does a lot of damage, more than I was hoping for, to be quite honest. But most importantly, he's still on that Toxic timer, and there are no more rocks on his side of the field. Now, my play realistically here is to stay in and spin again. I'm wearing him down. Chances are he's going to go for the Ice Shard, but realistically, I want to make sure there are no hazards up on my side, given how much initiative I have on my team. So he is going to go for the Ice Shard. That is going to take out Cyclozar, so Phanpy does indeed get the first KO of the game. But I'm not too worried about not getting rid of its Violite. As you can see, Toxic is really ticking away, and even with its Violite, pretty much any hit from anything I go into is going to take it out from here. I do see this, however, as a very good chance to get up my first layer of spikes for free. Even if he's defensive, a Ceaseless Edge from here will take out that Phanpy, especially since he's not Terra Fairy. So that is going to be my play. Go for Ceaseless Edge, get up that layer of spikes as quick as possible. He's going to withdraw here, get on out of there with his Phanpy to save it presumably for fodder or Ice Shard in the future. Goes into the Tornado, so I'm going to go for Ceaseless Edge. Now that's going to get a very good chunk of damage off, and we see that he is Rocky Helmet, which I was not expecting. I was kind of expecting AV, but either way, we get our first layer of spikes up. There's sirens in the background. I'm going to withdraw and go into my Thunderous Therian. It is my dedicated switch in to this Tornadus. So Therian on Therian, he's just going to go for U-turn. That's going to do 30 damage, not a massive amount. He's going to get on out of there and go into something to try and take on my Thunderous. And the thing he's going to go into is Da Vinci, that is the Scream Tail. He gets a bit of spikes damage on him. Honestly, my play here is either to Wild Bolt Storm for a bit of damage, or just go for U-turn, get on out of there, and go into something to try and directly threaten this guy. U-turn's going to be the play. Scream Tail is naturally very quick. It goes first and goes for Calm Mind, which is mildly problematic for me. What it does mean, though, is that I get a slow initiative. U-turn does a little bit of chip damage on the neutral side, and my plan here, realistically, is to go into Cleavor, get a U-turn off quickly to get more damage, and then go into Quillfish or Jirachi to try and take this thing on a little bit better. Cleavor is the one I choose, as I say. I can go into that with my slow initiative gaining from the Thunderous, go for U-turn, which is guaranteed to outspeed and get a nice bit of chip. He's just under half, which is great. Very happy about that. And I can go into, like I say, my Jirachi or my Quillfish to take this thing on. Quillfish is the choice. There is always the chance that this thing is Wish Calm Mind, so I want to get a Toxic off onto it as quick as possible. Even without my Eviolite, he's not going to be able to damage me too much. He does set up the Reflect, so it turns out this was a good move. He's Calm Mind and Reflect, so Toxic is always going to be the play here. I was tempted to go into Samurott and try and damage him on the physical side. That doesn't pan out. He goes for Flamethrower, which is his coverage move outside, I assume, Dazzling Gleam. It does under half of what I have left, and I'm going to get a Toxic off onto him from here. Now, with the Reflect up, my Barb Barrage isn't going to kill him, but much with Dragonite a couple of weeks ago, the combination of Barb Barrage and Toxic probably will. I was tempted to go for Haze, but realistically, there's not much point. He's going to outspeed and then, with the Haze after that, kill me. So I want to go for a Barb Barrage and get as much damage off as possible. And that's what I do. He's going to go for Flamethrower. I am, of course, going to live that. And I'm going to go for the Barb Barrage. Now, with the Reflect up, it's not going to kill. Toxic will, which is very good, because it turns out he is Weakness Policy. Wasn't expecting that in the slightest, but it's all for naught, because even with the Reflect up and the Calm Mind, the Toxic is going to take out the Scream Tail, and down goes a big threat on Lux's side, another KO for Quillfish. In comes the Phanpy. I wasn't quite expecting this, and I was very rapidly starting to calc Ice Shard versus my non-Eviolite Quillfish. Now, Ice Shard doesn't kill the Quillfish, so I'm just like, this is fine. I can just go for Liquidation and take this thing out. So, gonna go for the Liquidation. Lux doesn't, in fact, go for the Ice Shard. He was, I guess, going for Earthquake, thinking I might not be able to take him out with his Eviolite and investment, but either way, outspeed, Liquidation, that's the end of Phanpy, so I'm the only person to KO Phanpy this season, go me, and another KO for Quillfish. This little guy's putting in the work since he's transferred into the team, let me tell you. So now in comes the Rotom Wash. We're 5-4 up, I think it is, which is really good, but I don't want to be taking a hit from this. I want to maintain the Intimidate for the likes of the Mienshao and the Ogerpon later on. And I have a really good switch into this Rotom in the form of my AV Thunderous. So, gonna withdraw my my fish and go into the Thunderous. Realistically, the chances are he's going to go for Volt Switch here, and as you see, that's exactly what happens, and I'm able to get the Volt Absorb and get Thunderous back up to full health. And very crucially, with the Phanpy gone, Wild Bolt Storm is very, very free right now. So I am just going to click it. I have no reason not to do this. Assuming that he is indeed an offensive build of the Rotom, given that he was spec'd, that seems pretty likely. This is going to take out the Rotom with the Wild Bolt Storm, and Lux is really thinking about what he needs to sack off. And it's going to be the Rotom. Wild Bolt Storm is going to come in and take it out, and a first kill of the season in the final week of the regular season for Thunderous Therian. Now in comes Mash. It's the Ogerpon. The Ogerpon is back. I do manage to break it sturdy with the spikes, which is very nice. But now I have to think about how to best take this thing on. I don't want to be taking an Ivy Cudgel, so the question is, do I want to go into Quillfish and sack it for the Intimidate, or do I want to go into Jirachi to take an Ivy Cudgel into Knockoff, go for the U-turn and pick this thing off with Cleavor? I'm going to opt for the latter. Saving Bohemian, I'm going to get him on out of there because Ivy Cudgel would wreck my face. I'm going to go into my Jirachi here, and as you can see, the Ivy Cudgel is going to come out. It's not going to do an inordinate amount of damage. I'm EV'd to take hits from this guy. And now I can just get a slow U-turn on out of there into something to revenge this. He is going to go for the knockoff. That is going to get rid of my Rocky Helmet, which he takes a bit of damage from, which is nice. Gets rid of the Rocky Helmet, and I'm going to U-turn out of there. Slow initiative. I do manage to score a crit here, which is nice, but not really game-changing, because as I say, I'm just going to go into Cleavor to revenge this guy with the Scarf U-turn. There's nothing really he can do about that. So yeah, as you'll see, in here comes my Cleavor, ready to pick this thing off nicely. Now I considered Stone Axe here, but it isn't fully accurate, and this would just be the time where I'd miss. I do get a crit with a U-turn again. Neither of those crits mattered because the combination of those U-turns would have taken him out anyway. Cleavor is going to net another kill for the season. Ogerpon goes down, and now I have to decide what to go into. I'm going to choose to go into my Jirachi. It is the most expendable thing on my team. The only two things he has left are Mienshao and Tornadus. We're looking in a good position, but both of those things are going to outspeed me and kill me. So I might as well go into it to see what he's going to go into instead. It's going to be the Tornadus. We're 5-on-2 and things are looking really nice. I'm going to stay in here and just click Thunder Wave, just in case like he misses a Heat Wave. He doesn't miss a Heat Wave. He's going to take out my Jirachi. I'm fine with that, because now I'm free to go into my AV Thunderous and revenge this thing with Whirlbolt Storm. So, in comes the Thunderous. Now, Whirlbolt Storm is not fully accurate, but realistically, he can't KO me with anything. He's going to go for the knockoff, get rid of my Assault Vest, which doesn't matter, because he's only got a physical attacker left. I'm going to go for Whirlbolt Storm. That's going to pick up the kill on the non-AV Tornadus. Down it goes, and now it is Mienshao versus the world. And we are this close to securing playoffs, which looks so unlikely at the start of the season. So in comes the Mienshao. He's going to take spikes damage in case he's sashed, which is nice. And I can just go for Whirlbolt Storm, take him out. If he's scarfed, he might be able to take me out, but he won't be able to do it to everything. He doesn't have the freedom of movement. And then he goes for Endure, and I start to panic. I go for Whirlbolt Storm. I'm like, please just paralyze him. Please paralyze him. Please paralyze him. It doesn't paralyze him. And as you'll see, he has a Salak Berry. So now, he's faster than my entire team. And this is when I remember Mienshao learns Reversal. So, I start to scramble, and probably a turn too late, I go into Quillfish to get the Intimidate on him, but he's in a focus which now blocks that. As you'll see, he's going to go for Reversal. That's going to take out Quillfish, and my heart sinks. I am going to go into my Thunderous. Realistically speaking, I've run the counts on all my remaining mons. It doesn't matter. Mienshao is very, very powerful, and that is a base 200 reversal that he's got going on. He outspeeds the rest of my team, and I'm going to be honest, none of them are going to take this hit. Like, unless something magical happens, where like he doesn't have any attack investment, then this is over. So I basically just have to pray that he's like Swords Dance and was relying on getting one of those up to sweep through my team. Honestly, I'm just going to go for the U-turn here in case I live this hit. It's a fully accurate move. He's got 1 HP. Anything that hits him will kill him. But I don't have my bulk left anymore, and I don't have a Rocky Helmet user anymore. As you'll see, the reversal is going to come in, and it doesn't matter that it's not very effective. That is going to take out my Thunderous Therian. And all I have left are my two Scarfers. Now, they may be Scarf, but he's got a Salak Berry, and he's base 105 speed. He naturally outspeeds me, and by a lot. Cleavor is going to be the next best thing to take a hit, but honestly, it's not going to take this hit. Reversal's going to come in and one-shot my Cleavor. And now all I have left is the Samurott, which is basically the same build as Cleavor. If he outsped and killed Cleavor, he's outspeeding and killing my Samurott. I go into it, I'm scarved, so I don't have any priority. I just go for Aqua Cutter here, but as you'll see, Reversal's going to come in. That is going to take out my Samurott. Down it goes, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be the game. Yeah, rough one, that. Very unfortunate on my part. Decent amount of talking points, though. First off, hugely well played to Lux. He's a good friend of mine. I enjoy hanging out with him, and again, any links I can find will be down in the description. Make sure you check out his stuff and check out him as a person. Now, how do we go from being 4-1 up to losing the game 1-0? It might have looked like a throw, because there was a way I won that game very easily. What I should have done to win was when the Mienshao came in, if I'd have gone into Quillfish, he'd have gone for Endure, I would have seen that something was amiss and immediately clicked Toxic. If I'd got the Toxic off, fine. If I hadn't, I'd have gone into Samurott and immediately clicked Knock Off to get rid of whatever item was going to help him in the end game. But realistically, where was I going to guess that he was running Endure Reversal? Scarf looked to be the play, especially since Rotom Wash wasn't scarfed. I therefore just went, oh, well, he must have something. He knows that I like to run dual Scarfers. Surely it's going to be the Mienshao that's going to be scarfed. And then it turned out it wasn't. I wouldn't consider this a throw on my part. I would just consider this a very intelligent and clever build from Lux, who saved it until the end, and more importantly, he put himself in a position where he knew that he could win with it. Like, he identified that I had a Rocky Helmet Jirachi. That would have ruined the plan immediately. So he willingly let his Ogerpon take all that damage to guarantee I didn't have that Rocky Helmet. He already had loads of damage on my Quillfish. That wasn't going to help me out in the end either. Like, if I was at like half health and had my Violite and could Terra Fairy, then maybe. But there's a lot of ifs and buts about it, and I don't want to take anything away from Lux. He brought a very clever build that was his guaranteed go-to endgame guy, and he very cleverly and intelligently took out anything I had that could stop him from doing that. So I have nothing to say but well played to Lux. He deserves to go to playoffs. Unfortunately for us this season, that means that the journey is over. We lose the game, we go down to 3-5. If we'd won, we'd have been in playoffs. It would have been a very unlikely sort of underdog comeback story. Realistically, other people do probably deserve it more than we did for how we played during certainly the beginning of the season. But I'll get more onto that. Like, next week I'm going to do some kind of wrap-up video to sort of go over the team and how things went. But it does mean that as far as this season goes, the season's over for us. We're out of it. We finished just below playoff rankings, which is unfortunate, but like I say, I'll go into more detail in my sort of wrap-up video coming next week. But yeah, that is going to be it from me for this video. Once again, check out Lux, links down in the description, along with everyone in the Bolt and Flare divisions. But I'm getting out of here. I've rambled on for far too long. So my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I will see you next time. Laters.